Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett. I gave her a nut right before this. She's been aggressively working on her nut. Maybe that's a good idea. I gave her like a pecan, which is like one of the easiest ones for her to open. But one thing that's very challenging for her is if I take a walnut and I kind of crack it and I give it to her because she can't open a walnut by herself. Her beak isn't strong enough. But if I crack it, then she can kind of wedge her way in and all that. It's very mentally stimulating for her, and she enjoys a little treat at the end. So maybe I'll try doing that, and that would keep her like sort of actively, sort of only half engaged in this video because I think full ret engagement's a bit much for this video. So, but half engagement would probably be pretty good. But anyways, so we are working on unit tests. We've been working. It's 8:42. Oh, I swear, Microsoft, they're just such a nasty company. So basically, when this sort of they started adding like this useful information on the lower left of my screen, and basically what it had was the temperature, the time and temperature locally, and that was really nice. But then they started just adding stupid crap in there so that I have to click so I can go see what it is. So right now, here on my left, it says trending videos Karate Kid legend. It was like, what the heck do I care about Karate Kid for? I mean, I enjoyed that. There it goes. Now it popped up. Maybe, maybe it's listening. So it is 54 degrees and sunny and beautiful outside. Absolutely gorgeous. And of course, it's a Monday morning and it's 8:43. So I only have a few minutes to do this because I don't know. Man, daylight savings really screwed us up. Before daylight savings, we were going to bed at 9 a.m. and our alarm would go off at 5 a.m. and I was generally awake at 4 a.m. And I would sort of wake up and just sort of do my thing, and then the alarm would go off, and then me and my wife would chat a minute, and then we'd go. And then daylight savings happened, so we tried to stay at 9 a.m. And now we're going to bed, I don't know, close to 7 o'clock, and the alarm is going off at. We tried to do the 9. We finally said, okay, that's not working. So our alarm is now 10 to 7, which is 9 hours, and we're sleeping that whole time. And I'm just confident we not tried, had we stayed instead of going 9 to 5, if we had just made it 10 to 6, which would have been the actual same time on the actual wall, on the actual clock. I mean, in our actual bodies, it would have been the same time. I think we'd be going to bed at 10 and the alarm would be going off at 6 and I'd be waking up at 5. But this morning I didn't wake up till like 6:50. So I'm sleeping like over 8 hours a day, which is too much. But anyways, so we got this and we were looking good, except for down here in this visualizations. We aren't, we don't have our 100% that we're kind of trying to go at. And so we look at this and then we can click in here and we see this get visualization IDs. So this is a function I just created because I assumed at some point I'd want the visualization IDs, or maybe I intended to use it and I never, and then whatever is using the list of visualizations should have been doing this, but it's not. And so anyways, the way this, and then that one's going to be easy because I can just write a test. This one's going to be a lot harder, and it made me think about like how, like I think we've all, anyone who's worked on this kind of stuff too long knows that. So when you try to use a attribute that's on the service, that's sort of a bad smell. And then and so it kind of seems like what we really want is maybe a function that it just like I guess this is sort of an indication that this function is just doing too much stuff, and that maybe we should like have a function that is maybe like, I don't know what a good name for that kind of function is, but its only job in life is to kind of gather up all the attribute information and pass it through so that the so that you don't have sort of a mix of trying to interact with the state, or the state of the what would you call this state of the service and the actual sort of logic. Maybe teasing those two things apart is probably a good idea. But anyways, for now, let's go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and unit test this get visualization IDs. So we are in visualization service .typescript. So probably the easiest way to go there would be to hit Alt P, or is it Control P? Maybe it's Control P. Control P, yeah. And then visualization service. And we want this spec because we want to write a test. So this isn't even doing anything really. Render in a net, should render in a native element. So we did create a mock element ref here, and then we did that. And what do we end up doing? Render. So we end up creating like a stid get base render, or st element ref, mock element ref, render in native element. I don't even know where we do this render in service, render in native element. Let's just come over here and Control F. Render in. All right, so what is going on? Validation service spec. Visualization service. That's this guy, right? Okay, no, this is not. This is component visualization service. I just need to get my head straight here. Oh, that's right, because we created services that are specific to the component. This is not the right one. So let's hit Control P again. Visualization service. See, we have two of them. We have this one that's in app component viz, and then we have this guy. And this guy does absolutely nothing. So it is not surprising that nothing is unit tested, or that it has a very limited copy. It is actually surprising how much is getting copied, and it's only because right now in the app we're automatically building these things, which is not going to be the case in the future. And that is what does kind of screws everybody over in the future, is at some point when the next story comes out that says, okay, instead of just having these automatically built, we're going to have a little. If you worked in Agile, you know you have stories, and they sort of make you slowly build stuff and all that. And a lot of times you get sort of side effect code coverage. You don't get real code coverage. You get code coverage. And then when they remove this, let's say you're working in this visualization service, but somebody else removes this, and you're still seeing like 100% coverage. So you merge your branch, or you put a PR for your branch to go, and then they say, okay, now we've added this little thing so that you can add these instead of them automatically building. And then just out of nowhere, after you do your merge, you've lost all your test coverage. Happens every single time. So it's probably important. I was been thinking about it to like have an F describe here and make sure that you get 100% coverage in here, if that was, or you get whatever coverage that you're required to get with the test only, the suite for that only being run. I think that's a good idea. I don't know for sure, but we want to, it gets, for now, we just want to do this. We'll have another round where we do what I was just talking about, where I kind of play around with that. It should get visualization IDs. And this is probably not that's probably not a super accurate name, because there are no visualization IDs in this scenario. So let's say we'll just say service dot get visualization IDs. And then we'll just hit that. And I don't, like I said, I don't think it actually runs these when you make a change. It does a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't actually run them. Hit reload. And now refresh. And we've got our that, and we've improved this. We're still pretty weak on the branches. I do think that what I want to do is break this down into smaller pieces. So I know that, like, I want to determine if it's too wide in this calculate position, and then I want to get the viewport width and make it like kind of a variable, and then I want to call another function that I pass the visualizations, and so I can use, I'll end up using this get visualizations. I'll pass those, I'll get the visualizations, I'll get the whether it's too wide or not, and I guess I don't even need the viewport width here if I already know whether it's too wide. Oh, okay, so that's the problem. So I guess what I'm going to try to do, yeah, I don't know. I want to break this down though. I want to pull this into a smaller list. But anyways, that is that, because it is already 8:53. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to try to start going through the process of breaking this down. I doubt we'll finish the whole unit test. We'll probably just be lucky to break this down in time, and hopefully I can wake up earlier and go to bed earlier and be ready to roll earlier. I think giving Rhett a something to do, a little activity to do while we're doing this seems to have been a good idea. I would have enjoyed to see her be a little bit more engaged, but maybe, you know, I don't know. I notice. Well, we'll just keep trying. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.